Welcome guys, this is our first attempt at a cooking tutorial. I'm here with Christian from Kicked Off the Streets.
Thanks for having me, man.
Welcome, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to make vegan albondigas. So for this recipe we're using Beyond Meat. At the restaurant we use Impossible meat, but we are conscious that a lot of people don't want to eat soy. Christian is gonna help me out with the meatballs. I know he's a cook himself in his own right.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm excited to make albondigas with you.
Right here we have 2 pounds of Beyond Meat. If you take anything away from this, cooking is fun. Don't worry about the measurements. Like I said, this is an experiment. We're gonna see if it comes out or not. Worry more about the process. The actual recipe we will post, but everything is just to taste, eyeball it. You know, there's no science to cooking. If it's a savory, I don't know what your experience has been, but you never really know until you finish eating. You're tasting as you go. Everything's it might need a little more of this, a little bit less of that, to your preference. The only thing that's scientific is when you bake. Anything else, it's just playtime.
When I cook, I don't like to measure. Like, people ask for my recipes and I'm like, I don't know, dude. It's this, like a lot of garlic, a little bit of this, and
yeah, like my mom's the same way. You know, a lot of people they start cooking, learning from their moms, and they're like, I don't know, just some of this, some of that, and we get frustrated because we want to know like an exact amount. I want it to come out like yours, but
yeah.
Okay, so we will start with the albondigas. In there, with the 2 pounds of Beyond Meat, add more or less half a cup of cilantro.
What do you think?
It's good. To that, you can eyeball more or less a teaspoon of ground oregano, which is here.
Sticky shit.
A pinch of cumin.
What's next, chef man?
A few pinches of salt.
Alright, cool. I'll do 3 pinches, I like 3.
You can add some powdered garlic if you like. Just kick it up a little bit.
Cool.
We're also going to put fresh garlic in there.
Right on.
Alright. And we'll add the fresh garlic to that. So now you can get messy. Try to incorporate it as best as you can. Doesn't have to be perfect, but
for sure.
Just mix it till it's all
albondigals. What do you think?
Yeah, it's looking good.
Cool.
Put a little bit of oil down to sweat some onions. Now the term sweat just means to cook it until it starts to get translucent. So it won't be too long. It won't get any color to it. You just start seeing that it's that you can start to see through it. One thing about cooking, when you're cooking different vegetables, it's a good idea to cut them more or less the same size so that they cook at the same time. Like a big gong.
So the broth is just what we have here, huh? Nothing special.
Yeah, you could make your own vegetable stock if you'd like, but we're just gonna use water. There's enough herbs and spices and vegetables in it that it's gonna make a really flavorful soup.
Nice.
Once you sweat the onions, once they start to get a little bit translucent, I'm gonna throw the carrots in there. Like I said, we'll give them ounce later. And even once we do post amounts for the recipe, like you don't have to follow it. You can add whatever vegetables you'd like. Traditionally, this is what it would be in this particular soup, but you know, you could have fun with it. All you're looking for is for the onions to be sweated, and then you'll cook the carrots for 3 minutes or so, just to start to cook them. Once you do that, you can add the garlic. Now the garlic, you're just gonna cook for like 30 seconds to a minute. You're just gonna begin to cook it off. It's really easy to burn garlic, so you know you wanna keep an eye on it. Once you do cook it off a little bit, you'll add your potatoes and your water, and that's when your broth will begin to come together. You'll notice I have the potatoes in water. The water actually keeps them from oxidizing, so whenever you cut something that's white, it'll start to brown within a minute or so. It'll start to get dark, that dull grayish color. In order to avoid that, just leave it in water and you'll be set. We're using these red potatoes. I chose these potatoes because they're more waxy. They'll stand up to longer cooking times. If we use russets or anything like that, they're with more starch, they'll tend to fall apart in the soup.
Good to know, man. I tend to turn towards red potatoes anyways. I like them more. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about.
We put the potatoes in. Now it's time to add the liquid. You don't have to cook the potatoes in the oil. We just dropped them in because we're gonna add the liquids to it, and the liquid is what's gonna cook our potatoes. I put blended tomatoes in here. If you don't have tomatoes, you can use canned tomato sauce. We're gonna put water in, enough to cover the potatoes and then some, because we're also gonna need enough liquid to cook off the meatballs.
Making weird faces at the camera. You'll see them later.
In addition to the blended tomatoes here, I put quartered cherry tomatoes. You can use diced tomato. We're also gonna add some crushed pepper, just a little bit. I don't want it to be spicy for anybody, but I found like a little bit of heat wakes up your palate. You know, it just
yeah,
brings
that
everything.
made me excited right now when you poured that in.
We also add some garlic powder. As much as you want. I don't know how much.
Yeah, just fucking dump it.
So we're probably gonna add a couple teaspoons of dry oregano. You don't need to, but just so it's not as like coarse in your mouth, you can grind it up a little bit when you put it in there. So all that'll be simmering, and as the potatoes are cooking, like all the herbs will be going with the liquid too, and like I said, all this stuff will mix together and it'll make it really flavorful. We're gonna give this about 8 minutes or so. What you're looking for is for it to be just part cooked. You still want it to be a little bit raw, because in addition to that, you're gonna add the zucchini after those minutes, and then so you let that go for a few minutes, and then you add the albondigas after that. So this is gonna be going for a little over 20 minutes. The whole time you want to pay attention to what's going on. Like I said, that the time limits and measurements, it's not what cooking should be. Just pay attention to how things taste, how they feel, what's going on, and that's what'll help you be a better cook. You know, I can't tell you that how long your potatoes will take, because I don't know exactly the temperature of your water. I don't know the size of your potatoes, how much mass it's holding or anything like that. You know, nobody can really tell you an exact time to cook something. It's done when it's ready, you know.
That's right.
So I know I mentioned you're a cook in your own right. I heard you vend on your shows. Your vegan pollo is kind of famous a little bit.
Yeah, well, locally, yeah.
So what got you into cooking?
Well, being vegan definitely is what jump-started my cooking career, because when I first went vegan, I was making a lot of boring stuff like just beans, rice, potatoes. I was actually lacking a lot of nutrients, so I started, you know, becoming more like well-rounded with my vegetables and cooking up, you know, just more delicious meals really, because I was, again, cooking just basic stuff. So I started cooking a lot of pastas and made my own like cashew cheese sauce. You know, once I figured that out, I was like, oh, I'm good, man, because the cheese was that was like the hardest thing to quit when I was going vegan, so that was pretty cool. I just got creative and I love cooking. I do it pretty much every night when I go home.
You find that it's therapeutic at all?
I do, dude. I do. Honestly, like I'll be having like a day, you know, like you come home from work and you're all stressed out, and then, you know, I'll start cooking some pasta, and it's like I just go into this like trance where I'm just like focusing on nothing but like cooking, and it really takes my mind off stuff, and then when I'm done, I'm just like, right on, enjoy like a good meal, you know, de-stress a little bit.
Yeah, I think a lot of people like come across that same problem. I've been a vegan for a little over a year now. I did it because, well, for a lot of reasons, you know, but
yeah,
I did notice that I would just start to eat, you know, whatever was available. I'd go to fast food like places after work or anything, because even though I'm at the restaurant, you know, at the end of the night, I just want to get everything clean, and then I don't want to get dirty again. So
yeah, I feel
you know, you'd go eat whatever's available, and it's just that it's fast food. So
yeah,
I feel a lot of people do start getting into cooking because they want variety, and they want to like know what's actually going into their food, you know.
Exactly, bro. Like I was getting tired of Del Taco all the time. You have to pay attention to your diet when you're vegan, because a lot of things can go wrong. Like my hair started thinning out the first couple months of going vegan. I didn't notice till like months later, but like the first couple months is when I was eating really bad, and like it showed. Like I wasn't getting enough B12, this and that. You know what people complain to you about when they hear you go vegan, like you need this and that. I was actually lacking like protein and stuff, but now I get my blood tested and I'm good on protein, iron. So you just gotta know what you're eating and like know that you're getting all what you need. You know, omega-3s are really important, protein, whatever. You can't just slack being a vegan. You gotta get creative.
Right. I think that goes for any diet. It's
Sure.
I don't think it's so much because of the vegan diet, you know. It's more because we tend to eat those same things, you know, instead of being having all the variety available to us.
Yeah.
We eat a few things, and you can't just like, you know, sustain yourself off those few things, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. Unless you're in like survival circumstances, you know. I'll live off potatoes for 3 months if I had to, but.
So how long have you guys been together as a band?
It's been a little over 4 years now. It's kind of weird to say that. It's just gone by so quickly, but we started at the end of 2015.
You guys meet it like in school, or where do you guys all come together?
So me, Matt, the guitarist, and then Zach, our old bassist, we went to high school together, and we got into a lot of bad things together, and once we got our stuff together, we decided to start a band. And we needed a drummer, so I knew this kid that was like kicking ass at drums. I looked him up on Instagram. I knew damn well who he was. My grandma used to babysit him when I was a kid and when he was like a baby. So I've known him since I was a kid. So we're all kind of like brothers. We've known each other for like a long time. Yeah.
Makes you guys really close knit.
Yeah, for sure. We like hate, love each other. I'm stoked for Albondigas.
Alright, so I just bit into this, and it's what I said. There's still a crunch to it. It's not fully cooked at all. I'd say it's halfway done, which is a good time to add the albondigas because those are gonna go for another 8 minutes or so. After that, we'll toss in the zucchinis and we'll season to taste. The zucchinis will take another few minutes. Like I said, don't pay attention so much to the times. They're just a more or less like rule. It's a guide, but you'll know.
Want me to dump them in?
Yeah, well, we'll do it together if you like.
Yeah, for sure. You
yeah,
kind
we'll
of have to set them in, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. Especially because the pot's like so. There's liquid like up to here, and then we have this much space.
It's as tall as me.
While the meatballs are cooking, I figure we might as well start to season it. Season the table.
Season the table a little bit.
But yeah, you'll add salt as you go. It'll help the vegetables season, like get seasoned all the way through too. But also you want the salt to dissolve. You wanna be able to taste as you go, so you'll know like where the good like level of seasoning is. It'll like with a little bit of practice, you'll be able to see like, okay, it's bland. It tastes better, but it's still not there. You know, you'll know that it's well seasoned when it like pops. You'll be able to taste every individual flavor that's in there. Seasoning food well is like trying to park against your garage. Like the closer you get, like there's this perfect spot, but then if you go like an inch behind that, so
yeah.
You want it to taste as good as possible without getting salty.
Do you ever feel depressed when you accidentally go a little too far?
You can't fix it?
Yeah, dude. It's like to start all over.
It could have been so good. It's interesting that you said that you guys started a band once you got your stuff together, because I find your lyrics are really like really mature. They're really positive. Yeah, they're fun, but there's some like serious thought into it. You know, like there's everything comes in threes, or you could tell that you're actually trying to put something like across. You know.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for getting that. Like we don't just. I mean, some songs we just whatever comes out we just put on paper and that's the song. But there's quite a few songs like on our album and stuff that really took a lot of thought and like personally like with Rhodiola Rosea, which is about like anxiety, which I suffer to this day with, but not as bad. Like I was going through a really rough patch when I wrote that song, but I really had to sit and write and like really think about what is this like affecting like in my life, and I was thinking of all the areas it was affecting, and I tried to get it all into that song so you can kind of relate to it if you suffer from anxiety and just be like, whoa, yeah, that line, wow. And like I've gotten a lot of positive feedback and people saying that like they listen to our music to feel better, and that's what I want, dude. Like I want to make people feel good with the music and then the lyrics, you know, both have the best of both worlds.
Do I name every letter, or is it is it what I call the song KOTS?
Oh, KOTS, yeah.
Yeah, like was that early on, or I feel like there's a real you know, let's go, we're gonna get this, we're gonna do this kind of vibe in that song?
That song, I wrote the riff and it was like kind of like ska-ish, like there was like a ska beat, and we're like, that'd be cool to have like a song that had some ska in it. And then I don't know, it sounds kind of like cocky or something, but I don't know, we wanted to write a song about us, so we called it KOTS, which is Kicked Off the Streets, abbreviated. We all kind of chipped in for the lyrics of that one. It's just so people can kind of see what kind of people we are. Like we kind of grew up on the rough side of the fence a little bit, you know what I mean? And we've been through a lot, and we kind of wanted to relay that message through that song.
I think that's what makes like really good songs, when when whoever's writing the lyrics is, you know, like sharing a part of themselves, you know, when they're vulnerable, like when you feel like, when you doubt if you should put it out, you should probably put it out.
You should probably put it out. It might help someone, you know? Yeah.
What's the writing process like? Who does, is there someone that does most of it, or everybody pitches in?
I don't want to say I do most of it, but I do write a lot of the songs at home and then bring it to practice, and then we kind of build off of it. Maybe I'll have like some lyrics ready, and then I'll ask for input from the boys. And then a lot of the times we'll just like lately, like these new songs that we're coming out with, I don't know when we're going to come out with them, but we're starting to play them live here and there. We wrote them together. Like, we wrote these songs, like, just jamming. Like, oh, that was a cool riff, play that again, and we'll all just jump in on it, which we've never really done because we've always been crunched for time. We only practice, like, once a week for 1 hour, which lately it's kind of been the same, but it's like, okay, we have all of our old stuff down. Like, we can just chill and maybe focus on some new stuff. So we've just been, like, getting to it and just writing like some new stuff. So it's been all of us. It's been like a group effort lately. My guitarist, he writes like the fast punk stuff, and then I'll write lyrics for it, and he writes most of the fast stuff, and we just all come together. And
I don't know what the dynamics in yeah,
pretty good.
what the dynamics are like in a group for something to be put out. Does it have to be like a unanimous decision, or
I think we all decide together, yeah, like if we should release something and when, for sure. Like sometimes my ass will just be like, we should put this out like soon, like let's just come out with a single, let's just do it. And you know, my drummer will be like, nah dude, let's save it for an album. Like we put out a lot of stuff, like let's just have them wait for it, we'll put it out later with like a bunch of other really good songs. And I'm kind of the impulsive one that just wants to like put out stuff and I don't know, play shows when they're when the songs aren't even ready yet to play. Like but not really. Like I like to make sure we have it down and shit. But yeah. So does that answer your question?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I think it's cool when people come together to when it's like a tight-knit group that comes together to do something. I find it really interesting because it's difficult, you know, for everybody to feel like they had their say, or for all the different personalities to work as one.
Definitely, dude. It's like being in a relationship with 3 men.
Yeah. I can imagine.
I'm just saying, like, it really is. It's like you gotta be mindful of other people's feelings towards a song. Like, if they don't want to play a song, it's like, all right, like, one person really doesn't want to play, we shouldn't play, you know what I mean? That's usually our drummer. He's gonna punch me for saying that. No, I'm just kidding, but I don't know, yeah, so everyone's opinion really matters, and we try to, like, really have it be all of us making decisions, you know, not just one of us. If there's a really obvious bad decision, one of us, like, calls it and, like, says no to something, like a show, that's just not gonna be good for us.
Alright, so here I tasted the potato. It's fully cooked. Normally I would dump the zucchini in a little bit before it's fully cooked, but like I said, the waxy potato, it stays together longer, so we'll be okay. These pretty much you can dump them in and turn it off, and they'll cook through with the heat. But we'll let it go for a minute or so just to make sure it's all good. The potato tasted well seasoned. I'm gonna taste the broth and see how that's doing.
I'll be the taster. Spoons.
2,000 years later.
So someone asked what the secret ingredient to the albondigas is. This. Just
throw it in there.
Throw it on. Making sure it's seasoned. Just taste as you go. Don't put anything out until you're happy with it, you know. Taste as you go. If it needs more salt, cool. If it needs more oregano, more whatever you decide it needs, okay, it needs. You're doing this to your taste, so you're gonna make it your perfect version.
Dang, it's looking real good in there. Wow, dude, that's really good. So we decided that's gonna need more salt, so we're gonna put a little more salt. Not that much though.
Sea salt is not as salty as kosher salt, which isn't as salty as iodine, like table salt. The larger granules, they let you have a feel for how much you're putting in, and also there, you know, there's nothing else in it. It's just salt. So
cool.
If you can use it for cooking, you can use it for, like, if you use it for canning or anything else, it won't make the liquid cloudy because it's just pure salt.
That's right.
good all-purpose.
I'm paranoid of table salt. I heard it like lowers your testosterone and like a bunch of bullshit. Cause it's like the chemically made salt. You know, there's like a lot of solvents made to like for table salt. I don't know how true it is, but.
You want any more oregano in it?
Dude, I think it's great, man. But I mean, it could use a little bit more. I don't think it would hurt it. Maybe some lime. We didn't put that in yet, huh?
Well, normally like we'll add it to the bowl like after you serve it. Like you serve it to yourself and then you put the amount of lime or whatever that you like to it. I do notice that I don't know if you've had the one with the impossible meat. This one tastes actually more like if it was actual beef. Like it's fattier. It coated my tongue when I tasted it. You know.
It tasted really beefy right now. Yeah.
That's the best way to describe it.
Albondigas.
Welcome back to our experiment. Our camera died, so if the video quality looks a little different, that's the reason. What we found out was that the Beyond Meat, it does hold together, it stays together. And it's a trip because it's actually, we said it's beefier. I don't know what's in there that to make it fatty, but it coats your tongue. It's more, it has a little more body to the broth. So we're gonna give Christian, our guest of honor, the first taste.
I'm gonna dig into the Albondigas. I'm excited to try it. I wanted to buy it a couple weeks ago, but they sold out. So I'm stoked. I'll start with the meatball. Oh my god. Really good. Really salty, flavorful. Wow, dude. I'm not a soup guy. Well, I am a soup guy, but I don't eat soups enough to critique soups, but this is really, really, really good.
Thank you guys for watching. Follow us on all our social media. Like, comment, hit the notification bell, subscribe. Links for everything will be in the description for Kicked Off the Streets. Thank you for coming, for visiting.
Thanks for having me, man. It's delicious.
I appreciate it, man.